welcome to the Sports Doin with me, Kushagr, and we have a full ensemble of experts here today. We've got Vijay, Susheel, Prathamesh, and Anuraag. I'm sure they're very eager to get their hands dirty with the preview for the upcoming in the weekend. The standout fixture, of course, is Man City. You know, the top two teams from the last year taking on each other. So currently they are at the first and second position, Liverpool being top. Susheel, I'll come straight away to you. How do you think you guys will travel this? You guys have won all of your last two home games have been 2-1 victories, right? So they haven't been as dominant as I guess probably like I guess they probably won't mind either. I guess as long as you keep winning your matches, it doesn't. But you haven't been as dominant as probably we saw last year, league as last year. And Man City in the last 2 or so weeks, especially since Ruben Diaz and Laporte have started playing together, looking like the centre half partnership that probably Man City have been crying out for like almost for 3 4 years. So, how do you see this going on? Along with Liverpool, Man City also had an impressive in Europe as well yesterday.
Right. In terms of the game itself, with Man City, it's always tricky. These games can become one-sided or they can be really competitive as well. If you remember, take last season for example, right? The first time the two teams played each other, it was Liverpool ran out clear winners, and then I think after the title had been more or less sealed, Man City sort of did the same to us. So obviously there were caveats around Liverpool not being into it. But these games are always a little tricky to predict. You don't know who's going to show up and who's going to have a brilliant game. But because it's fairly early in the season, the title race is still pretty competitive. I know Man City will be looking to get the or it's a home game for them. They're in the title race, and this is the perfect way to do that. I'm expecting a very close game, a very tight game. In terms of what you were saying about Liverpool's form or generally how they've been playing the last few games, that they weren't dominant. I think last couple of seasons Liverpool have sort of developed an approach to dealing with it. They don't necessarily go full tilt in certain games, even after they concede a goal. They have this belief,
Resilience.
sometimes resilience and belief, sometimes incorrectly, that even if they concede an early goal, they go down 1-0, they'll still be able to eke out a win at the end of the game. So they never really go into top gear. Against Atlanta, though, they were brilliant. I thought from start to finish.
Yeah, talking about Diogo Jota, man. Like I think we
Yeah,
this was a sign just 2 weeks back. Just 2 weeks
right.
back, I remember talking to you about it and saying it's fantastic signing if he comes. And he's just showing why he scouted and why Liverpool have agreed to spend 40 million pounds on him.
Yeah, I mean, last season, look at where he was in the world squad and how he sort of, hit the ground running after joining Liverpool. There's a huge jump there. The team behind him at Liverpool, I think they've done a great job at picking up talent. Diogo Jota sort of fits into that, Sadio Mane. He was still a fairly well known and was considered to be a good player before he joined. But Sadio Mane really took a step when he joined Liverpool, and I think Diogo Jota probably fits in. He's had one of the hottest starts to a Liverpool career in history. So I can sort of see him having a really good season. I don't know, since we were talking about this before the streams, how he fits in along with Bobby. It'll be a little complicated. I think maybe you'll shift to a four-man attack like we want, or maybe he'll just rotate the players around based on whoever's fit. So it's good to have competition. Last season in particular, given Firmino's injury, he really needed someone to sort of push him. And I know Jota, he's not exchangeable. It's good to have someone who's a goal threat and who gives you a different way of playing in that front line. And just to wrap up my point about, I think while we've talked a lot about their defense over the last couple of weeks since Van Tag, I'm really looking forward to see how they do in this game. I think they were in hot form against Atlanta. I just hope they carry that over the weekend as well and maybe help us get that away with.
Yeah, and coming to Manchester City here, I'll go to Vijay first. Vijay, how do you assess the Man City season that has been? We just heard Pep Guardiola sort of not be entirely happy with his attack last weekend when he recorded a 1-0 victory over Sheffield. Over Sheffield United. Yes, he wasn't too pleased with the fact that City only had scored 9 goals in the Premier League over 6 matches. But what impressive for me has been their ability to win 1-0 and their ability to keep clean sheet. And that was the major problem for Man City last season. In Ferran Torres and Ruben Diaz, I think they've made two very very good signings. And how do you think they'll shape up this Klopp's team of Liverpool?
Well, that's a good question because it's hard to see a City team in the last few years not scoring at all.
Yeah.
And 9 goals in 7 quite low for City. And Manchester City is 10th at the moment, with the game in hand for sure. But this is not so.
This is all
Questions
2020 for
have
you,
been
my
asked.
friend.
Exactly. So it's been quite a while, and I think from what I saw, it was very unlike City to score a goal and then take pressure for a while. But
Yeah.
I think it speaks to. I think they had a bit of a gap in between the period of the start of the season now, where I think Guardiola was like, okay, my De Bruyne isn't playing or isn't as clinical, or Sterling is shouldering too much of the attack. I think so. Get some confidence in between, and maybe show that let's bed in these new players to work that system. So maybe it's just a thing where I need the squad to gel a bit more. These new players to work into a Guardiola, which is probably not as easy as we could think they would hope. But they're playing the champions, and I think, like Susheel said, Liverpool are a different animal because they've built that resilience, and so I don't even see if City scoring first is going to be a huge advantage for a team like Manchester City. So I don't, I can't see that.
Oh, all right. But I think what eventually would matter is I'm pretty sure City will create chances. What's incumbent on them is that whether they actually end up taking those chances, because even against Sheffield United, West Ham United, both those matches they created chances to actually win the match more handsomely, but with their finishing has sort of let them down. And I'm not entirely sure if Jesus will be back for the match, so that would again sort of a false line arrangement is there for City as well, which could play into Liverpool's hands considering inexperienced centre halves that they'll have on the pitch. So
As a bonus for confidence, the Champions League show was pretty good, right?
yes,
So clean sheet and
Yeah.
3 goals. So yeah.
I mean, I'm just hoping for an interesting match.
Talking
I'll just
about
come to all
yeah,
four of you for your opinions, because I guess this will be the marquee match of the weekend. So we'll start with Prathamesh. Prathamesh, what are your predictions for this match?
I think you're talking about City that hasn't been good enough. It's as if the disease from the west has moved on to the blue half of Manchester for some reason. It's spread in that direction. I genuinely feel that Man City probably will win this game by a couple of goals, because you look at the two centre halves that Liverpool have. They have spectacular. You know, I wouldn't bet against them scoring a couple of goals against Man City, but defensive lineup, and somewhere down the line, it just doesn't feel like they will be able to handle the mobility of Man City with Ferran and Sterling, and if Mahrez is fit, Mahrez as well. I think it seems pretty difficult that those able to. So Yeah, I'm going 4-2 to Man City.
All right, 4-2. I mean, that would be a lovely game, Prathamesh. I mean, that would be that for the ages if we get there. Anurag, are you as goal heavy as Prathamesh is?
Not really. These are two teams. Uh, one is well developed, one is well bought. So you don't really know if there is going to be that much spice in this game. I think I'm going to go for a dull 1-1 prediction, because I think watching Manchester City in the last couple of weeks, especially in the Premier League, has not been that entertaining. So I don't expect them to produce something extravagant against a Liverpool side. So I'm going for a 1-1.
All right, Sushil, and should I even
I'm actually going for a 2-2 draw. I think.
Oh, come on. Just because I
Yeah.
said so, you went for a 2-1.
No, what Pratham said, Liverpool's defense, that is a concern. But at the same time, I think both of the attacks will probably they've sort of built themselves up to form. So, and I'm not completely convinced that Man City can keep it close. So 2-2.
All right. Vijay, I know you did not call it the last time, but just as a today, where are you
Um,
leaning towards?
I'm gonna go with a safe bet and say if Biden wins, it's gonna be Liverpool by 1-0.
Wow.
Yeah,
Oh, so yeah, the blue and the reds, right? So
because the
I guess,
election is, I think, as uneasy to
Nice.
call.
Does the
I think Vijay will have the fixture
yeah.
before we have the results of the American
Yeah,
election. So
could be.
that's all a joke
Then
there.
I guess the
Anyway,
football match is gonna decide the play.
one way or the other. All right, moving on, guys. And we come to Leicester versus Wolves here, between the team which is currently placed second in the table versus in the table. Another Leicester. In Leicester, we have a team which has the best away record in the Premier League, and in Wolves, we have a team which doesn't have a shoddy away record in itself. So something's got to give. Something finally see a dominant performance at home from Leicester, or this year Nuno Espirito Masterclass. How impressed? I'll straight away come to Pratnesh. How impressed Leicester? How do I say? How comfortable do you think this to be? And the kind of results. What do you expect that Brendan Rodgers or the Leicester fans should really be hoping for?
I think what we are seeing with Rogers essentially is what wanted to do ever since he joined Leicester City, and he's been trying to perfect whatever brand of football he wanted to imprint on this team. That with I think when Rogers did it probably Jamie Vardy was someone who actually looked plans in some way that he wasn't really fitting the system. But I think what Rodgers has done brilliantly well in last 1.5 year, they're actually able to blend Jamie Vardy into that system. You could see in the last game where how Jamie Vardy was, not pace, his intelligence. You could see the difference in the movement that Jamie Vardy was before. I think in the previous management, the kind of movement which Vardy made, the kind of movements he made, his involvement in the deeper side of the field, just that one player himself just epitomizes how much Leicester have changed and how Leicester with players even being mobile, going in different. You could look at the difference that Tielemans has made to this team. Where he's able to attack those spaces by Jamie Vardy's space. So I think Leicester are in a very good direction right now. They have a team who understand, I think, each other's requirements in a way to fill up each other's errors, which is something that's good to see. Their home form is a little worry though. You just won one game out of the three, but then so far they've conceded 6 goals in those 3 games. One thing that they would want to address at home. Their away record is spectacular though. I mean, they've won all their home and including ones at the Etihad and so. I think in that sense, what you could see going forward with Leicester is you're seeing some good football in good flow, being more mobile. You're seeing players understanding each other's roles. You're seeing fit into each other's role when the time comes in. So that's good omens.
All right, we'll come to Anurag. Anurag, any thoughts on Leicester? Wolves. It's another. It looks like it's going to be another season with the middle of the top half. Wolves, they're in positions from fifth to eighth. I guess maybe stretch it if they want to try for a fourth spot, which they've been craving for the past. They've made some shrewd signings as well. The squad looks really good. Nelson Semedo his detractors at Barcelona. He's bad for Wolves. He's actually been decent. And yeah, last weekend I saw Uri. I'm not entirely sure if
Yeah.
I'm
Yes, he scored. Yeah.
pronouncing it. Yeah, he was mightily impressive. That young lad. He's really good on the left hand side. He really cost me because I drove insights in my F5. That didn't really turn out well for me. But kudos to the young lad. How do you think the win and what do you think how the fixture will go?
Yeah, I think Nelson Semedo's addition. This is a team that relies very heavily on those, those wing backs
Fullback.
who, yeah, the fullbacks, wing backs, whatever you can say in that back five, back three formation. So again, there is a lot coming from that area, and they need creativity from that side. And Ait Nouri again. Even I'm not very sure how to pronounce the name properly, but yeah, last game he was so brilliant. The runs he was making. Just his I think his ball playing ability and just the finish that the finish was so good in the goal
And
that he scored against Palace.
the
Yeah,
assuredness, it was unbelievable.
yeah, it was absolutely brilliant. And I think another uh, great thing for Wolves is that they're doing all of this without Adama Traore right now, and even Daniel Podence has. I think stepped up. We must say, he's stepped up his game. He got a crucial goal last game. Uh, we again, this is a team that's heavily reliant not just on those wing backs, but in the midfield there's Ruben Neves, who's always a live wire. You expect plenty of things. He breaks those channels with with his passing. He always finds Jimenez for some reason. That's quite a partnership there, and there's Dendonker doing a lot of cover up stuff. He's protecting the back line so brilliantly. This is a team that is well marshaled. You can just looking at them, you know, there are teams like Brighton, there are teams like Leicester, there are teams like Wolves. They don't have the resources, but they have a fabulous coach, and they understand the limitations. They know what they can do with the squad that they have. Even that might not work every time. If they are up against a better team who are having a better day, yeah, they're prone to not doing well. But again, I think on their day they really can trouble anyone. And yeah, again, we were just mentioning about them craving for that fourth spot last season. Before Bruno Fernandes signed for Manchester United, I think they they were pretty much the favorites to finish fourth. I think just the way they were going, and there was a clear gap between United and Wolves as well. And thankfully that vanished as it went on. So this should be a close game because both teams are playing back three. So this it we could see some great attacking football hopefully. So yeah, let's see what happens. Good pacey for players on both sides.
Right. I think it'll be a very interesting match. And we come to what could be or probably is one of the bigger fixtures over the week. But it's with the team that is in the top four and the other team is in the five. Yeah, it is just about on the 15th spot. Five. It's Everton hosting Manchester United after disappointment both of the teams. Both the teams suffered loss, varying degrees of varying degrees of anger amongst the fans. So still feel Everton have had a good start to the season. This is now the second result in a row that they've looked shaky. So I'll start with you. How how do you think Everton have managed to quite literally fuck up a very good start to a season? The two matches that they've lost, ideally they shouldn't have dropped any points in those two games. Especially the Newcastle
Yeah,
result because they can't buy a goal.
yeah. I think first of all, we should extend our well wishes to James Rodriguez. He's recovering from a serious injury, and I think
It's as if Sushil couldn't wait to say that. He couldn't literally.
It's a testing time for him, bro.
It's every time. And I know we're not the only fans who care about him as soon as possible. Anyway, I
Ouch.
think, but the reason I brought up James Rodriguez, he's actually relevant to what I was going to say. Ever since that Liverpool Everton game when he picked up that injury till now, Everton have looked like they've lacked something, in going forward. You have to understand that in the absence of a very well-defined attacking structure, Ancelotti has to rely on these players who have that brilliance and can do something special. That's something that really probably impacted him. But he should be back soon. I think he won't be back for this game, but he'll be back. I think in another couple of weeks. So yeah, I think that's one reason they haven't been playing that well. On the other hand, there are a lot of promising things in the season. Last season was brilliant. Dominic Calvert-Lewin, and he's shown that it's not just an Everton thing because he also did well with the English team during the last decade. So I'm guessing with that hot streak he's on, he's probably this good. You can see him ending up with let's say 15 to 20 season, and he's already pretty far along in terms of getting to that mark. So I see Everton might let's say have a good fight in this game, but without James, I think it might be a little difficult for them to navigate through United's midfield. The others on the panel will have some opinions on that too.
All right. When it comes to Everton and when it comes to James, I thought of a really difficult and really crass joke against Liverpool. Did he really try to catch the ball with his promise or its horns or something like that? I mean, what was he trying to do and what is the aim? Yes, I know. All fun apart. Everton do have Lucas Digne in the team, and he's been a very important asset for them whether it is while defending or attacking or while taking set pieces as well. So he's one of the leaders, if I'm not wrong. He's the captain of the team if things go right. So he's been fantastic for the club. How do you think they'll shape up against United? As we speak, United are already losing.
Oh, you didn't need to remind me of that. I already know about it, so that's totally fine. I think they Allison through suspension as well, so that's one big miss, and that's one big positive for Victor Lewin. One less player to actually bully him, because Calvert Lewin is definitely going to do that. No way that Calvert Lewin is sticking close to Harry Maguire, because to be honest, he knows that Maguire is going to beat him in the air. Probably on the ground is somewhere where he can actually get the better of Maguire. So I think Calvert Lewin is sticking himself to Victor Lindelof almost. Everton still have pretty good midfielders, Alan, Ducore, so that midfield three is anyway sorted. One side of the attack which they really have to figure out whether Iwobi plays that role and want to play Sigurdsson like they played last time, and that forward three, those front three players. So I think that's something that Ancelotti have to figure out. But I think it has in a way in that sense because United playing away from home, so the away form is quite good for United. Coming to Digne, I am someone who is going to have a lot of the ball when Everton go. I feel with the lack of James Rodriguez and the magic that he creates with the ball, I think Dean is crossing towards Calvert Lewin is going to be a very important component. And as we did mention now that Lindelof is going to be probably a soft target um for Calvert Lewin. So I think that one move, Digne crossing it on to Calvert Lewin and scoring. You could literally just visualize it when you close your eyes. So that's one thing that United will be careful of. One thing that Everton can really exploit, because I think that is one proper goal scoring avenue. And and even the lack of Richarlison, there will be genuine lack of, natural towards goal. I think even with even with Alan or Decore, I feel they're not the kind of players who make those genuine movement towards. So I think with Calvert Lewin being the only man, they will have to somewhere on Calvert Lewin's strengths along with the weaknesses of the United defense as one centre half. So I think they will have to target that.
All right. Coming to United, Vijay. I know initially you wanted to talk about Manchester United, and as someone from the outside, of course, not really, thankfully, not really involved with the that is Manchester United's own fan base. But how do you assess the situation? How do you assess United season? It's a season, or whether it is or it isn't. I mean, it's a question. How much of an importance can we give to the Champions League results? As far as the domestic competitions are concerned, they've been really bad. Do you think United will finally turn it around and give some people something to cheer for over the weekend?
The way you asked me that question kind of spoke for itself. That you want it to happen, but I don't think you really believe it. And
Yeah, it's just when the whole joy and hope is sucked out of you.
yeah, I get it. I think that's what
Thomas might know.
yeah. So no, I think it's a pivotal point. Well, let's look at the as not just the Everton game, but a very such situation for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. He's not
Yes.
been this low in the league. Is he facing? Is it time to have that question?
Pochettino was there. Pochettino was there with Gary Neville and Jamie Carragher at the Monday Night Football. Of course, the day after the Arsenal debate, and the regular Poch nonsense and stuff.
But no,
It's the same cycle for Manchester United. Who's going to be in charge? That's not going to make a difference.
so
But
you
yeah,
say
carry
it's
on.
who's going to be in charge, but think of it the same the style of play since Alex. If you look at Van Hal, it was park the bus, play on the counter. If you look at Mourinho, bus, play on the counter, and well, technically with last few games that I've seen,
It's the
except the
same.
ones that he won emphatically, but his long-term is the way his team is seeming to be described, park the bus and counter-attacking football. And I kind of went back to his earlier interviews. Those United had their amazing run of form when he was caretaker. And
Yeah.
when asked like how he wants his team to play, he specifically said, "I want my team to play with power." Any game this season, I hit the diamond. Did you think that they played with pace and power and
No,
on
not
the
really.
width? And Jadon Sancho or Erling Haaland are the missing pieces? No. So it kind of, I mean, those would help definitely. I think Frank Lampard would agree. Those kind of, but I'm kind of thinking it's either going to come to a point where people who say Solskjaer is out of his depth, it's going to bring back all those memories of how obvious it was to, how early it was to, sign Solskjaer to be a permanent manager for the next. It's that bell that's going to start ringing and it won't go great at Everton, is what I feel.
All right. Solskjaer did score his biggest defeats as United manager. This was the season before last. United traveled away to the Goodison and lost 4-0 there.
Yeah.
So after the PSG result, and it's a summer of absolute shit show that United had. So yeah, forgive me. So yes, and I think you're correct there. I think if there is another loss, and especially coupled with what one can see is going to be the result today as well. So all of that will compound itself. I remember on our sister. I think I remember predicting that this is the social is going to have from the end of last international break to the beginning of this international break. Could possibly end up getting him sacked, and could be perilously close towards
And
that.
it
So
doesn't help him that every time something going wrong, some manager or the other flirts with him. I don't personally consider that helpful for Ole either.
I don't think it's bound on
But that's the
other
job, bro.
managers.
Yeah.
Job, like, right? Yeah. So
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I'll come to you, Anuraag. Thanks for that interruption there. I know you're a United fan. I think we've had almost zero United perspective. It's unfortunately that is the sign of times. It's been so negative. That's what the club has fed us, and that's what the team is performing as well. So how it will go, and do you approach this match with any semblance of confidence or resolve in the team?
See, as far as confidence is concerned, again, it's the same old story, right? You don't know how the team is going to pan, what kind of a team is going to be on paper, what kind of a team is going to be on the field, and as Vijay rightly mentioned, with the diamond, there is no pace, there is no exploitation of the width. That's exactly what we saw in the game against Arsenal, and the only way you can get something from the width is through your fullbacks, and if your fullbacks are Luke Shaw and Aaron Wan-Bissaka, obviously, Wan-Bissaka is fabulous
Yeah,
defensively, but offensively they are of no use. I think there's no kidding there. Uh, that's where we
yeah,
saw
yeah.
nothing was
Agreed.
happening there, and unless there is a Tellis playing there, and unless there is someone else in the future we can get as a right back position. I understand the diamond work in bits and pieces for United, especially that heavy midfield, that bulk of midfield. It gave United that comfort against Paris Saint-Germain. I think that's what really got a lot of fans excited. But it's good. It can work, but I think it still depends a lot on how the fullbacks are going to attack. So as it stands, they are not doing well, and I see no scope for improvement. Again, I think there is a chance. I feel Ole Gunnar Solskjaer might be giving up on Diamond a little too early. And I wouldn't blame him entirely, because the players, especially, I don't know. There's just a feeling I have. Uh, it might be horrible. I might be proven wrong. It might sound very horrible if that it's not the case. But again, it's because of the fullbacks. I think it really ends up being so boring, and it ends up every attack that's building, it's going for nothing. It's very frustrating for a manager, for a fan, for a team. It's so off-putting. Let's see what happens. But what I'm expecting is for Bruno to take some control over this game. As they mentioned, if James is out, there's going to be Gylfi Sigurdsson, I think, who's going to take up that creative role in the side. So let's see if one of our central defensive midfielders, or the central midfielders, can do something to curb the damage that he potentially could inflict. So as if we can keep that creative presence down, I think Everton are a side that can be managed. But we don't want just a side that should be managed. We want 3 points. I think it's high time. Last game, before the loss against Arsenal, I think at least the top five was still in catching distance. Now it's gone a little, even with the game in hand. Now we're long
Yeah,
distance away.
it's too far
Yeah,
away,
I
and
think
it's
one
just
game.
sad that like so early in the season we're so far
Yeah,
away.
Can
exactly.
I add a quick point?
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, what you know, you're talking about going up the table, but if we just put together what Vijay was saying earlier, points to Everton losing that game, we could just as easily drop into the relegation zone.
Yeah, I mean,
And
just
Yeah,
the psychological impact that would have.
exactly.
and I think that would make position very, very,
I think it becomes
much.
untenable then, Sushil.
Yeah, I
I think
agree.
because you have 2 weeks, you had a 6-1 fester for 2 weeks. People hoping for Sancho to come in,
Right.
didn't come in, and then that PSG result happened. So all of that got broken.
Mhm.
But
And
now this
yeah,
thing
I think I
happens,
would just go
and
as
And
far
that's
as
the
to
thing.
say,
Yeah.
if tonight's game against Istanbul and this game against Everton don't go as for expectation, I think after the Everton game, I think Solskjaer might not
I think
wake up to
Solskjaer
see
gets
himself as a
sacked.
manager. Yeah, as the United manager, I doubt
I
it.
think Solskjaer might get sacked because
Yep,
Yeah.
it's the
because
closest
I
he's
think
gotten
Didn't they
now.
it's
release a
becoming.
statement? Didn't
It's the
Fabrizio
closest he's
release a
gotten now.
statement saying they have a trust in him no matter what?
So
That's just
that's the dreaded hope, isn't it? So how does Fabrizio
Uh,
Romano
if you have to
release
there was a
if you have
anything
statement
to
that
different?
came about
if you have
Jose
to
as well, just
say
7 days before he got
hmm,
sacked. It's fine.
if
7 days.
you
Yeah,
if you have to say I'm the manager, then
It's
that's
already
probably
done.
not a good
yeah.
It's
yeah.
already done.
And just to add, I think I mentioned quickly before we wrap up. suggestion at the start of the season too. The most dangerous thing for United to get into is this cycle. You get these wins against top teams, and you start losing these other games all
And that
throughout
is
the
exactly the
season.
cycle we are
Yeah,
in.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Because it gives you that sense of
Security.
progress. But
So
yeah,
I
exactly.
think you've hit the nail on the head there, because the thing, Ole Solskjaer never does bad enough to get sacked, because he one result which will give you all kinds of hope. But the issue is, because one can clearly see that he's not been given the tools of the trade. Not good enough. He should have been allowed to fail mistakes. He's never been given the correct instruments that he's been
Correct.
wanting.
Yeah.
That happened with the City manager that comes in my head. So we'll keep that for another video here. All in all,
Just one finishing point. If Pochettino wanted to leave Tottenham was because he wasn't allowed to be the controlling man, the alpha man.
so it's the
And
same
if he
thing,
comes to
isn't it?
United, it's the
But
same
I think the
Profile is
United,
different.
if you
I don't agree with that.
if you see how Chelsea are run as a club, right? It's never the manager taking the calls. The
Yeah.
team is win, and then the manager just comes and executes. So I don't buy that argument necessarily of not having. Obviously, you want some of your players, but with a core in place, which
I
I think
don't think
United does have.
another Ferguson comes back. I don't think he would have, like, on another club, he would have that much power that he did him. Like, I don't think that
Right.
role
Truly.
exists
Yeah.
anymore.
Vijay, exactly. Vijay, there is another thing there, because, as you say, it's akin to Klopp staying on for the next 20 years.
Mm.
That's what it's akin to. Because Sir Alex came, United hadn't won the league for I come from 67, so that's 19 years when he did, and he took another 7 years to win the league. So it's 26 years for
Right.
United that it took to
Right.
win the league,
Yep.
right? So then the man takes you on for like 30 title seasons. So whatever he said, whatever he wanted was gospel, given that amount of time. And Klopp was only given that time because Liverpool were in such depths that initially there was literally nothing expected off of him. And that's why I find this whole Klopp and Ole comparison of 100 absolute crock of shit there, because it's not the same circumstances, it's not the same from the owners, it's not the same approach to management. Nobody's going to reap the same or similar results as that.
But
So,
nor can
yeah,
it be, right? It
it
can't
cannot
be.
be. See, you cannot ape other clubs, but you can positive intentions towards your own club, with Manchester United's owners and its board don't have. Sorry. I'll wrap this up with Vijay, your Chelsea versus Sheffield match. I know we've not really covered it as much, and just for our viewers as well, the big team that is in play this weekend, teams I must say, are of course Arsenal and Tottenham. I think Tottenham traveled, and if someone would be so kind to tell me who's Arsenal playing last match of the weekend, they're away. Or they're at home. I'm not sure. I'll have
Home
check.
against Aston Villa.
Aston Villa. Oh yeah, Vijay was fast fingers first. So fantastic, Vijay. So coming back to you.
Very much like Utter.
How do
Everyone
you
else
see
is
this?
searching about James.
Yes. Just a quick minute on the Chelsea versus Sheffield game before we wrap.
Well, Chelsea versus Sheffield is the question what Frank Lampard is going to do. Is he what the progression of this team is like, and the progression so fast so far. In the last 4 games, clean sheets. So can we keep the solid back of what Silva, Mendy, and what Chilwell have seamlessly into something very solid for us to build our foundation of our team about. And I see a Christian Pulisic and Ziyech on the wings wondering what they can do to overlapping fullbacks. Sorry, send me that.
Oh, yeah, I got that. I thought. All right. Okay. Fair enough. I would go for a routine Chelsea victory there. I'm going to go for the same. Once again, thank you so much for joining me here, and thank you so much for taking out the time, and thank you so much for our viewers as well. Please do let us know your predictions in the comments below. Subscribe and keep watching TST.